Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Invest Education Week, Day 4. Lot of happiness to see so many people. And first of all, the very common names which I have seen from day one. So glad to see that you guys have stuck around for a very long period of time. And that means the sessions are going well. I hope you all are practicing what we are doing. Today, there's a bit of change. Today, we have brought someone else who will throw some light on the technical perspective of financial markets. So what we have learned since day one, we have talked about asset classes, we have talked about how many kind of asset classes are available in terms of commodities, currency, share basket, stock index, shares. And then we talked about margin trading leverage, some risk management strategies related to stop loss. We talked about we talked a lot about diversification. We talked about pair trading strategies. Then there was day three, where we talked about the impact of the economic data like GDP, FOMC meetings, non-manufacturing and non-manufacturing data, non-farm payroll. We also discussed about how the role of earnings can really impact your investments in stocks. We threw some light on the impact and the possibility of how US elections can impact your investments. For a much more detailed discussion on US elections, we are going to have a webinar on 28th, and you can join that to know that which sectors will be impacted during US elections. Day 4. Today, we will talk about charts, graphs, technical patterns, how the performance of historical prices help you understand the possible future directions. And to throw some light on that, I have Mr. Vivian, who is one of our brilliant technical analysts. He will be starting with the very basics of technical analysis, what it is, what are its assumptions, what a candlestick is, what are technical indicators which we can go through. And then over a period of time, he keeps conducting a lot of advanced technical webinars, which will help you understand this particular subject in much detail. So you have good 45, 50 minutes. You can write your questions over the chat. Vivian will be able to answer you a lot of questions. If we are short on time, then definitely you can have a one-on-one session later on with Vivian, and he will be able to reach you out. So once again, guys, welcome. I'll hand this over to Vivian now. Before this happens, please give me a thumbs up or okay if you can hear my voice, if you can see this presentation, if everything is okay with your network, just give me a good okay. So then we can proceed with our session. All right. Okay, I'm getting yeses. Okay, I'm getting okays. Okay. So most of the people can hear me. Those who might find a lag or if there's a network issue, don't worry about it. This entire series will be uploaded on YouTube later, and our relationship managers will be available to cater your requirements personally whenever needed. So next voice which you will hear will be of Mr. Vivian. Great luck, and we will meet tomorrow. Please remember this. Tomorrow we are going to have last session, which is live trading in US market, and that will start 5:30 p.m. So all the sessions we have done is between 7 to 8, but tomorrow exclusively we are going to meet 5:30 p.m. at the US Open, where I will be available to take you through how to execute trades and what are the news which we have to see on the basis of even the technicals which you will learn today. So enjoy, and please keep writing your questions and queries, review us on Google whenever you get time. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the World Investor Education Week. I am really privileged to be sharing my years of experience on technical analysis with all of you guys. Let's dive into our technical analysis. All right. So what is technical analysis and why is technical analysis crucial? Now, if you've been following us throughout the week, or at least for the last 3 4 days, we would have touched upon a lot of fundamental basis. So let me give you an example. Let's look at Apple as a stock. Fundamentally, if you look into their financials and their business module and their future forecast, it is a good fundamental company. The fundamental analysis of the company is very steady, and it is a good company to be invested in. Now, the drawback of a fundamental analysis is it's always on a long term time frame. If you're looking at a 3 to 4 years investment time frame, fundamental analysis would do the job. But then let's look at Apple on a very short term time frame. And if you're trying to take advantage of the moment on Apple, probably yesterday on Apple's launch, there was a lot of moment in Apple, and you're trying to take a good level to buy and exit probably in 1 or 2 weeks, or sometimes even a intraday trade. You enter into the trade today and you want to exit it by tomorrow. So fundamentals over there does not make too much of an impact, because overall we know Apple is a good company in terms of fundamentals. But then this is where technical analysis comes into play. This is where technical analysis will help you identify good opportunities on a short term basis, and of course technical analysis can be used on a longer time frame if you're still looking for investment for 2 to 3 years time frame, or even longer than that. So what technical analysis helps us is to forecast. It helps us to forecast the next price movement based on a lot of moving averages and a lot of technical indicators, of out of which I'll be covering a few today. Let's move on to couple of what is the assumptions. Okay, history trends tend to repeat itself. So we'll look at couple of examples probably on today's session, or probably in the future when we meet one on one. And you will see a lot of price reaction that behave in a similar pattern. Not necessarily the behavior as at the same price, but it could be the similar behavior at different price levels, but due to certain percentage moves that you see in the markets. This is something that we will cover probably on live charts while we look at the charts today. That is one of the assumption. History tends to repeat itself, so that's why it makes it little easy to identify a potential opportunity in the market. Price moves in trends. That is very obvious. We all know price moves in trends. We need to learn how to catch this trend and how to take advantage of the trend, and till what extent a trend can last. And we have a couple of indicators which will also give us a good insight on how to identify trends and how to also identify where a trend reversal could potentially come into the market. And market discounts everything basically when you're using technical analysis, like I mentioned before. uh, Apple being a fundamentally good company uh, does not necessarily have to reflect on today's technical move. So basically, we know Apple is a good company to be invested in, but you can do a intraday trade. Like for example, you take a buy on Apple, and then the price can still go against you, and you might end up losing on that particular trade. But then we know overall in the market, Apple is still a good company. But what happens on a short term time frame, it basically discounts what actually Apple is in the long term. And even at times news also is discounted when you're using completely technical analysis. People who do purely technical analysis, and especially on a very short time frame, they tend to not look into the noise that is coming out of the market news and various sources, because they tend to choose to enter and exit purely on technical levels, and that's the only basis for their entry and exits. Those are the ones who do purely technical analysis, but a mixture of both is required. And I would advise always be aware of what is happening in the market, even if the technical signal is giving you a very good indication to in regards to a market movement. Let's move to the next. Yeah, let's start with the most basic, which is the candlestick. If you all have already started using a platform or the demo platform, or if you have seen charts even on public websites, you'll always see there's either a red and a green candlestick that keeps popping up on and off. I'll just go through these candlesticks very quickly. So there is traditional and there is modern. Let's just look at modern because pretty much everybody works on the modern candlesticks, which is the green and the red. However, there are few which still sticks to the traditional. Instead of green, it's white, and instead of red, it's black. Let's just look at the green and the red. What does the candlestick signify? Basically, it signifies a moment of a given particular time. Let's look at a particular time frame of a day. We are looking at probably, if you're looking at US stocks, you're looking at open of the markets, which is at 5:30, and close, which is at 12 a.m. in Dubai time. So the candle represents the entire day's move. So today's candle would be still in play, whereas if you look at yesterday's candle, you will see it's either a red candle or a green candle. We'll come into that also when we look at the live charts. Now, what candle body represents is the open. So if it's a green candle, it means the open was at the lower price and the price moved up and then it closed on a higher end, so hence it becomes a green candle. Always the lower part of the body is open, the higher part of the body is closed. Now apart from open and close, you also have these tails or wicks, as some may call it, which comes into play. What this signifies is, let's say for the bottom part of the wick, after it opened, it went as low as the line which ends at the bottom, and then it came back to its open, and then it went high. So high and low is represented by these wicks, and the body represents the open and the close. So this is how you read any candlestick. Now, not every time there would be a wick on both the end, but at all times there will always be a body. Very rare cases the body is going to be a very small one if the price of a particular stock, commodity, or a currency opens and closes at the same price. So then you don't find a body because the open was at the same price, whereas the close also was at the same price. So this is something that you can start to identify and learn how to use candlesticks to trade. We will cover a couple of these while we are doing the live trade or live demonstration, which I'll be showing you all in few minutes. Now, moving forward, what all kind of indicators can we look? There are millions of indicators that help us make a decision when it comes to technical analysis. The first most basic one a lot of people look at is support and resistance. Now, just to keep it very simple, a support is a spot where the price can take support from and start going back up, and resistance is basically an area where the price cannot move beyond that point and it can potentially come back down. It's as simple as that. That is the support and resistance, which I will be showing you as well. Then there are moving averages. Now moving averages, it helps you identify moving average of the last 7 days, the price of the last 7 closing price of the last 7 days, which will help you identify where the trend is heading. This again, a moving average, when I show it to you live, it would make more sense to you. So I'll keep that for later. Determining trend. Now, trend lines. Again, trend lines help you, again, the most basic of technicals that is used, which will help you identify an ongoing trend. Also, it will help you identify if the trend breaks. We'll do this on the live demo again. Average true range. Average true range is very important, that I will be emphasizing quite a lot on today. Basically, average true range is it helps you identify, let's say for example, if you're looking at a Microsoft stock and you want to identify how many dollars can Microsoft move in a single day, and that is where average true range gives you the exact or average price movement. If you're looking at on weekly basis, you will look at a weekly chart or a weekly time frame, and your average true range will give you the data as to on an average how many dollars can Microsoft move in a single week. Now, one thing to keep in mind, we will know how many dollars Microsoft can move in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year. but it does not determine the direction of the stock. It only gives you the average price movement that you can expect from that particular stock for a given period of time. RSI is very important. Again, RSI helps you understand momentum in the market, and it also helps you understand if a particular stock or a product is at overbought, meaning the market has gone up significantly and it has come to a region where it is at a overbought position, so a potential downside could begin, and vice versa. RSI also helps you determine when the market is extremely oversold, so that you can take a decision if you want to invest into the market. Now, again, the drawback of RSI, just because it gives you an indication of a overbought and oversold region, does not necessarily mean there is 100% chance that the market is going to reverse. It can remain in a overbought situation even for weeks, and it will still show you overbought. So these are few drawbacks that you will find with every technical indicator, but then I'll help you solve these problems, and most of our problems would be solved once we understand our entries and our exits. Now, when I talk about entry and exits, entry is very clear. You're entering into an investment or a trade, and you are expecting it to move in your favor, so your entry is clear, but your exit has to be determined on both ends. So basically, exit if it goes in your favor, exit also when it goes against you. Every trade, we would recommend you that highly recommend that you keep a stop loss and a take profit. Stop loss is a must, because especially since we are going into an election month, the volatility in the market is going to be severe, and at that point of time, every news that could come out might fluctuate. Yes, you might have a very good indication, you might have a very good position and a very good view in the market, using all your indicators, but still there are good chances the market could potentially go against you, and hence a stop loss is highly recommended. Second thing that you also need to keep in mind along with your positions is your leverage or your exposure that you'll be taking in the market. I would always recommend, do not take too much leverage. In fact, do not take leverage at all would be the best way to go about it, along with keeping your stop losses. Support and resistance, again, like I had mentioned to you, there is resistance shows you where a price can drop back down. So earlier, this line over here in the middle line was acting as resistance, and once the resistance broke above, it became a support. So you'll see in the chart, it comes back towards the support and bounces back up towards the resistance. So it has formed a new resistance, whereas the previous resistance became a support, and vice versa. What was a support at one point of time can also become a resistance once the price breaks below the support. Moving averages, like I mentioned, it will give you a moving average. Basically, these lines represent the price that the particular instrument was trading at. You can choose probably 7-day period of moving average. You can do a 50-day moving average. Basically, it takes an average of the last 50 days of the closing price of the instrument that you're looking at. So in this particular example, you can see there is a 8 EMA. These are exponential moving average. You can do a research between SMA and EMA. SMA is simple moving average, but pretty much both of them serve the same idea. However, exponential moving averages gives you a more smoother price support and resistance. Now let's just look at what has happened. The blue line signifies the 8-day moving average, whereas the red line signifies 20-day moving average, and the black line represents the 90-day moving average. Now, if you're looking at these moving averages, you will notice the higher the moving average, the bigger the number of days that we are taking into consideration, the price is going much more lower, meaning the price was at this level 90 days back, or 90 days on an average the price was trading at this level. Now, how people use this to trade Let's just take a look at 20-day and 20-day moving average and 8-day moving average, which is mostly used for a very short time frame. If you look at it, every time you see a short-term moving average crossing over a long-term moving average, it gives you a signal that the momentum is on the upside and it could potentially move further up. And this is how people use moving averages. People who look at a little medium on a medium term time frame, they look at a 50-day and a 100-day moving average. There are people who also look at a 200-day moving average when they want to find a very solid support or resistance for them to take an investment for long term basis. For example, 90-day moving average is something a long term or a medium term investor would wait for the price to come back down till before they take a buy into the market or before they invest into the market. Moving ahead, trend line. Again, as I explained to you, trend line helps you identify the trend. It also helps you identify when the trend has been broken, which we will be looking at it on the charts. Now, let's get to the pros and cons. Now, the pros basically mathematic position. Several generations of professionals coming from different academic cycles have elaborated various mathematical models, which gave birth to multiple algorithms projecting future market moves. Now, one good thing about technical analysis is purely number based, and there is no sentiment involved with it. If you're following the technicals as it is, as per the numbers, it would serve you as a very great tool to help you identify good entries and exits in the market. Now, variety of choices. Now, there are millions of technical indicators where you could go from one to the other and identify entries and exit signals. However, you're not required to look at every single indicator unless you're very passionate about learning every single indicator that there is to in the market. I would always advise use 3 to 4 indicators to get a confirmation on your signals. For example, if your trend line is giving you a good entry signal, but make sure even your RSI is giving you a good signal. Make sure probably even moving average is giving you in the same direction. What happens is this will give you a much more clearer signal in terms of the moment in the market. Emotional indifference. Using technical indicators may help filter out the emotional element in trade decisions and hence take a big part of psychological responsibility of the trader's shoulders. Again, like I mentioned, if you're following technicals as it is supposed to be, you will not have to get emotional over your trades, because even before you enter the trade, you had the logic using the technicals, you've got the signal to enter, and like I mentioned, you have an entry and exit would be both on the profitable side as well as the loss side. Cons: lack of understanding. Of course, each of these technical and indicators needs to be understood very well before you take advantage. It needs to have a lot of experience as well. You will have to probably read the basics of how a SMA or a moving average has been formed. For example, how the calculation behind it is moduled. So it helps you make your decisions much better, knowing how the indicator has been formulated before you take any trades based on technical indicators. Lost in the woods. Indicators very often contradict each other, and using a lot of them together may disorient even a professional market observer. This is very true. Like I mentioned, you use 3 to 4 indicators, which is good. The minute you start adding 10 to 20 other indicators along with this, it will make your decision much more tougher, and it might also give you contradictive views. Future is unknown. Even with the highest probabilities, any indicator always lags behind the current moment, but the market is alive and never waits. What it means is most of the indicators that you're going to be looking at is based on previous historical price. Now, previous historical price can give you an average price range. It can give you average. It can help you understand the movement on the upside and the downside. But whereas it won't give you, it is not a leading indicator. It will not give you as to if there is going to be a breakout that is going to come into the market. Like for example, let's say Microsoft is trading at a certain level, and it is not going to give you a signal whether it's, if Microsoft is going to make an all-time high and then go up by 30% above that. So that would be impossible with a technical indicator. However, a technical indicator would also always help you or assist you to identify opportunities once the breakout has happened. You can look at the previous breakout. For example, let's say if Microsoft in 2005 had made a new high, and from 2005 to 2010 it made a newer high, you can always look at the previous percentage move on Microsoft to predict the future percentage. However, most of the technical indicators are lagging indicators and not leading indicators. Now, before we head on to our live chart, I would encourage you guys, if you have benefited and if you have gained much more knowledge in terms of trading, in terms of markets, in terms of opportunities, in terms of all the products available in the markets to trade, please give us a review on Google. We would appreciate it a lot. And thank you for waiting on the theory part. Now let's get into the practical side of it. This would be more interesting. We have about 20 more minutes. So I'll try and use the 20 minutes and give you as much as knowledge I can. I'm just going to be sharing the screen right now. All right. So let's start with the most basic: support, resistance, trend lines. Let's look at, probably, since I kept talking about Microsoft, I will open Microsoft. Let's start with candlesticks. Sorry. So we started off with candlesticks. Let's look at the candlesticks. This is how, so you have your chart, you have your instrument. Now this is your time frame. You can look at a 1 second chart. Basically it shows you every second move. If you can look at what is happening right now, it is showing you price. It is basically forming candlesticks based on 1 second move. So basically each of this candle has a open and a close price, so hence the candle body. And wherever you see the tails, basically it opened, it went all the way lower, and then it came back a little higher before it closed. So your low is represented by the tail, whereas the body is always open and close. Now this is a 1 second chart for you to get a good understanding. Let's look at a daily chart. Looking at a daily chart, let's look at the last 3 candles in the chart. I'll just circle this out for you guys so we know what we are looking at. Yeah. So I'm looking at the candlestick which was formed on 12th of October. On the 12th of October, you see a green candlestick that was formed. Basically, the Microsoft opened at 5:30 in the evening. When it opened at 218.62, and after open, probably it initially came down. That's why you see the tail at the bottom. It came down as low as 216. Then it went back to its open price, which is again at 218.62. Then it made a new high for the day. So it had actually gone all the way till 223.65. Before the market closed, that's at 12 a.m. Dubai time, it came all the way back down to 221 and it closed. Hence, it became a green candle because it opened at 218 and it closed at 221. Now, during the day it had already gone much higher, but that is signified by the wicks or the tail that you see in the candlestick, but your body represents your open and close. Now let's look at yesterday's candlestick. Yesterday it opened at 222 and 222.46 to be very precise, and it closed at 222.85. So the open and the close hardly had too much of a difference between them. So it was hardly 40 cents difference. So hence the body is just a small line, if I may say. But apart from the open and close, the price in fact moved much higher. After opening at 222.46, it had moved up all the way to 225, and that is represented by the line or the wick of the candlestick. And it had also during the day gone down all the way down till 220.45. So that's how candlesticks are formed. If you look at this candlestick over here, pretty much open and close are at the same price, and it had moved, of course, high and low, but open and close remained at the same price. Hence you do not see a body in this particular candlestick. Today, if you notice, the price is still open because the market is still going live. At 12 o'clock, when the price closes, it will be determined whether it's going to be closing on a red candle if the price closes lower. But if it goes higher, it will close on a green candle because it is above the open price. Currently, it has opened at 223.10, and the price right now is trading at 222. Hence the red candle, and the price is still active and live. This is how you look at the candlesticks. There are a lot of strategies around candlesticks which you can also learn. You can always get in touch with your respective relationship managers and your consultants, and they'll help you and give you the right notes and probably a couple of reading materials for you to understand more about candlestick movement alone. A lot of people, a lot of traders use candlesticks to identify potential opportunities in the market, which we won't be diving into right now. Now let's look at support and resistance. I'm just going to be looking at a weekly chart. Let's look at a monthly chart, which would give you, or a weekly chart, which would give you a much clearer picture of what Microsoft has been doing for, let's take for the time frame of 2018 till 19. Now, what is support and resistance? Like we learned, it's basically levels where price was trading at, oops, I'm sorry, just 1 minute. Yeah. So let's look at 2019. You would see this price was trading in this range for quite a long time. Okay, so that is 2019. Then you see price came up to these levels, and it had dropped back lower, then it went back up. Now let's just take this as an example. Why is this a good support? Reason being, let's say we are still in the beginning of this year before things went bad, and we do not know what is going to come in the future, but then everything was uncertain at that point of time. Market was going up, it was making all-time highs, which was very good for most investors before the pandemic hit and it started dropping. Now when the market started dropping, every drop could have been a potential buying opportunity, but buying probably after 1 week of a drop would have been tragic because the drop continued. Let's say you bought it 3 weeks after the market dropped, still would have been a tragic because the market came down even further. Overall, Microsoft in the month of Feb to March has dropped by 35%. So if anybody did buy right at the top, they would have seen a loss of 35%. If anybody bought it right in the middle, you would have still seen a loss of 15%, 17%. If anybody bought it right at the bottom, would have seen a very good profit as of today. But what makes this point very interesting, and why would we consider this point to be a better entry point rather than entering somewhere in the middle, is because you look at the historical price movement. Every time you find a support, you will see the prices jumping on the same levels for quite some time. Now these, I'm looking at a weekly candlestick, so I'm looking at the week of 23rd June 2019. Then again, one to about 7 weeks later, on August 4th 2019, you see price came back to the same level, bounced back up. Then it happened the very next week, the same thing repeated. Then on 18th of August that week as well came down to these exact same point before it jumped up. So you'll see basically almost this is almost 6 months. The price was coming down to 133 and going back up, right? It was coming down to 133, going back up. So 133, the more number of times the price takes support on 133, it becomes a strong support. Now, remember one of the points that I had mentioned to you, history repeats itself. Now, this is not just what we are looking at, this is what the entire world is looking at. Now, by the time this has happened 2 to 3 times, everybody knows when Microsoft comes to 133, it's a good level to buy by default. So people will wait for it to come down till 133, buy it when it goes back up. Now, if you see on the upside, there has been resistance also. But before I come to resistance, let's just look at the support for now. They wait for it to come back down, they buy. When it goes back up, if they know where to book profit, they book their profit, again wait for the opportunity. Now once this has given a break upside, now this support still remains a support even years later, but then if at all the price ever comes back to that level. Now, in this case, we were lucky enough for people who did not get to buy Microsoft. The price actually came back to 133 and it bounced back exactly from those levels. Now, remember the part where I said technical sometimes discounts everything else. Now, this drop was based on the entire pandemic scenario. Even in those scenarios, the price bounced back up from here. Now, one reason this could happen is everyone knows fundamentally Microsoft is an amazing stock to buy and hold, and it has been evergreen. If you look at Microsoft for probably from 2009 or 2008 till date, you buy it pretty much at any levels, it still gives you a great return the very next year or probably 2 years of waiting in case there was a recession or something in between. But then Microsoft still gives you a good return for just buying and holding on to it. So based on these analysis, now people are looking to enter Microsoft again, but they want to enter at a good price so that they can gain from the market dip. And why wouldn't anybody consider buying it at 133? Because in the past they have seen every time Microsoft was trading at 133, it had given a bounce up from that level multiple times. So hence it becomes a strong support. Let me just remove this box. Yeah. Perfect. So hence it became a very good support. Now let's say Microsoft has gone up, and then basically this had become the resistance. This was the all-time high that Microsoft was trading at. This had become a resistance. So now once you entered at this price, if you want to know where to book your profit, you can always book your profit at your resistance. Now, however, you booked your profit, Microsoft still continued going up. There are two things that you can do in this scenario. You can still buy back Microsoft and keep a stop loss below your resistance and let it continue on the higher end. Second thing you could do is do not do anything after the breakout. Wait for Microsoft to settle, and if by chance Microsoft comes back to 188, which was the earlier resistance and now will act as support, you can consider buying Microsoft at these levels. Again, however, you need to keep a stop loss in case things turn back down for unknown reasons. Now, this is your stop loss. Sorry, this is your support and resistance. I would suggest that you can try out support and resistance even on a 5-minute chart, or let's say even a 30-minute chart gives you support and resistance. Let's look at today itself, or from last evening till today. You see Microsoft pretty much comes somewhere around this range, and it goes back to somewhere around this range. Now this will act as support and resistance. Right now, if you would ask me what you could do on Microsoft, probably for a short time frame, this could be a potential support where the prices can go back up, so you can take advantage. But however, although you have your support and resistance, always keep a stop loss below your support. I'll come to how to keep a stop loss and how far or how close should we keep a stop loss, which is very crucial. If you keep it too far, your loss is going to be very huge. If you keep it too close, your stop loss could trigger and probably the trade would have still gone in your favor. So that is a challenge by itself that I will help you find a solution to. Now you can do the same thing even on a 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart also pretty much looks like the same support and resistance. Now if you want to look at a little longer time frame support or resistance, I would say this is a good resistance point, or rather right now it has become a support point. If you notice, Microsoft was trading below this, it went back up to the same level, dropped again. At this point of time it broke above this and it is taking resistance at this current level. Ideal level to buy back on a medium term for Microsoft would be this level, and it can there are multiple supports. You can look at supports if you want to wait for a much lower level. This would be your next support to buy Microsoft. So there are multiple levels of support and resistance as you keep going back into history. It purely depends on what time frame are you trying to take advantage of. If it's a very short term trade, then you look at a 30-minute chart. If you're looking at a month or two, you look at a 4-hour or a daily chart. If you're looking at a year or more, always look at a daily and a weekly chart. Now support and resistance, I hope everyone's clear on that. Let's look at trend lines. Trend lines is pretty much same as support and resistance, except it'll be a vertical line. Let's look at it on a weekly chart, which is much more cleaner. Okay, so I am looking at a weekly chart. I can see a lot of trends here. How do you draw a trend line? Basically, like how you drew support and resistance, but trend line will be diagonal. Sorry, not vertical, it'll be diagonal. So this would be a trend line. Trend line always, one criteria for support and resistance and trend lines is it has to meet on the same line at least 3 to 4 times for it to be called a trend line. Let's say, for example, I take the bottom of this line, sorry, this candlestick, and I draw a candle, sorry, I draw a trend line probably here. This also is a trend line, but then if you notice, it has gone up, it has touched the trend line just once. This was the second time it touched, and then now it is given a break. So it does not make it a very solid trend line. But what would give you a solid trend line would be when multiple points touch each other. I'm talking about the candlesticks touching at the bottom of the trend line. Now this would be a decent trend line. I would call it a decent trend line. Oops, let me just get that back. All right. So this basically is a decent trend line that you can draw. You notice that every time it came to the trend line, it was an opportunity to enter. Let's say a person who entered on this red candle where the trend line broke below. Every trend line trade or support or resistance trade, you need to have a stop loss, because we will not be able to predict. Like I told you, these are all lagging indicators. It is not going to give you a prediction as to till where this trend line is going to hold. It can break at any given point of time. Let's say somebody took advantage of this trend line by taking a buy on this red candle here on 30th of August, and they did not keep a stop loss. They would have incurred a big loss when it dropped down. Whereas if you had to keep a stop loss, probably the trend line failed and you took your stop loss, you can also change the direction of your view. If you're expecting the markets to go down, you can always take a directional trade on the downward trend. Now, however, the same trend line can act as resistance. Microsoft right now has come to 121, and I would see it taking resistance at 226. So basically, if it breaks above 226, the trend line will continue on the upside. If this resistance does not hold, it would most likely start dropping back on the lower end. and that's how people use trend lines and support and resistance to take trades. This works same on the downtrend as well. Let's look at this downtrend. This was a big drop here. Okay, now this was a downtrend. The minute the downtrend was broken on the higher end, you can still take a trading opportunity over here, keep the stop loss below your trend line, and take advantage of the move on the break upside. Same on break downside. If you're taking a short position, you keep a stop loss above your trend line and take a short position, and if, as the market drops, you take advantage of the downtrend. Now this is with the support, resistance, and trend lines. I will skip the moving averages for today since we are running short of time. What I will do is, like I mentioned to you, ATR is something which is very, very important that we all need to know before taking a trade on any given instrument. You find your ATR in technicals at the bottom. Okay. You go to overlays. You just need to type ATR and you get it. ATR is average true range. It will show me how many dollars can Microsoft move in a given time frame. Now I'm looking at a weekly time frame, so it will give me an indication as to how many dollars can it move in a single week. Again, please keep in mind, it does not give you the direction, it only gives you an indication as to how many dollars Microsoft can potentially move in a single week. Now once I draw my ATR, let's look at where ATR is at today's price, today's candlestick, on this week, sorry, this week's candlestick. It is showing 12.22. So what is Microsoft ATR telling us? In a single week, Microsoft can move $12. So if you're trying to take advantage of Microsoft for a week, you cannot take advantage of the entire $12. You need to try and take advantage of at least 50% or 20% of the move. If you're trying to take advantage of the entire $12, basically you would be buying right at the open of the week and closing at the sell of the at the close of the week to take advantage of the $12 move to be profitable. And however, that can also lead to a loss because it is not giving you the direction of the market. Let's take an example of 30th of August. If the average ATR was $12.81, so basically Microsoft dropped on that particular day. So but why is $12 $38 sorry 12.38 important for me? Because if I'm taking advantage of Microsoft today and we have just 3 more days left, I can pretty much calculate how much or how many dollars I can expect Microsoft to move in my favor for the next 2 to 3 days. Now let's just look at a daily time frame. Sorry, this is a 4 hour. Yeah, let's look at a daily move. On a daily basis, Microsoft moves about $5.5, and today it has come down quite a bit. Okay, on an average, it moves by $5.5. Let's look at the open for today. It has opened at 223. Right now, it has come down to 221. So, what does this give me an indication that Microsoft has moved on by $2? It also gives me an indication that it can move down more $3 because the ATR for Microsoft is 5.5. So if I am looking at taking advantage of Microsoft currently, I would avoid doing that, or probably I would take a very small exposure for now, so that if it drops by another $3, I can take some more on it, because my ATR shows that Microsoft can move $5 in any given direction. And today is a downtrend, so and it has already dropped by $2. We can expect it to drop by another $3. Not necessarily every day there is going to be a $5 move, but you can anticipate a $5 move and take opportunities accordingly. Now this is where the ATR is very, very, very helpful. Let's try and use ATR to take a trade with stop loss and take profit. We have 5 more minutes left. I will quickly show you RSI along with ATR. RSI, Okay, I'm just going to close ATR just for 2 minutes. Now you have your RSI. RSI is an oscillator, so basically it keeps oscillating within a range of 100%, which has given as a condition and criteria for RSI. I would encourage you to go do some research on RSI, how RSI is calculated, and why does it give us buy overbought and oversold position, which will help you understand RSI much better. Now, but on a uh, very open trade right now, what I would like to show you is how to use RSI to take advantage of the market. So you can look at the RSI at the bottom. Basically, it has a blue line, it has dotted lines right in the middle, and it has orange line right at the bottom. Now, the bottommost is 30%, the blue line is about 70%, and of course right on top of RSI is 100%, right at the bottom is 0%, right in the middle is 50%. Now every time RSI moves above the blue line, the 70%, it indicates that the market has been overbought. So that means there is a potential downtrend that is going to begin. So let's look at what happened in this particular scenario. I'll just mark it out and we'll look at what happened. So in this particular region, this had showed overbought. Okay. And after that, market had come down. Let's look at a couple more examples of the past data. This was another area where it showed overbought. If we look at the same time frame over here, it shows you that the market gave a dip. This is another area where it showed overbought and the market gave a dip. Now this looks very easy. It looks very easy to identify and take a trading opportunity. But I would also like to show you where markets will show overbought but will not crash. A good example is this. These area market had shown as an overbought scenario, but if you look at it, the drop was there, but it was very minute drop, but overall the market just kept climbing up. Now this is where your stop loss will always help you. Every trade, every indicators that you get, you take advantage of it, but always make sure you keep a stop loss, because if it starts going against you, it can just continue the trade. Now I'm talking about people who are looking to short. Now let's look at people who are looking to buy. Microsoft is a stock never to be shorted. In fact, stocks always go up, especially a quality stock like Microsoft. So let's just look at opportunities for you to buy on a medium time frame, or let me do this example on a very short term time frame. Let's look at 30 minutes chart. Okay, this is a 30-minute chart. Let's look at what is happening right now. Okay, so in this case scenario, you see this was an overbought scenario where market was expecting to take a reversal here, but the reversal has not happened and it is just happening. This is on a 30-minute time frame. Okay, let's look at buying opportunities, because like I mentioned, Microsoft always is a good investment that you can take for long term as well as even short terms. Let's look at, since we're looking at a long term investment time frame, let's just look at a weekly chart. Right now, we had seen that there was a support that was taken by Microsoft at 133 when we were learning about support and resistance around 133, 132. Okay, at the same time, if you notice that the RSI also came into the oversold region, which is this area right here. So now you have double confirmation. You have a support and you have your RSI giving you oversold region. Hence, it helps you make a decision whether if you want to buy into Microsoft or not. Now, coming to the stop loss and take profit, which is very crucial, we need to look at the RSI. Let's look at the we need to look at the ATR. Now, what does the ATR on that particular day look like? Oh, sorry, that particular week, because since we're looking at the weekly chart. Now, on that particular week, RS ATR showed me that it can drop by $11. Okay, so if you measure the entire price movement on this particular week, that was on 22nd March. Okay, so basically on that particular week alone, the average movement of Microsoft was roughly around $11. Okay, plus once you got an indication that Microsoft has come down more than $11, plus you have a buy signal from your support as well as RSI, you take the trade. But now, how is my ATR going to help me? We know an average movement is $12, and you're taking a buy for a medium term. So you're looking at a weekly chart. So I'm guessing you're looking to buy and hold Microsoft at least for minimum 6 months. So for minimum 6 months, if you're looking at a $11 move every single week, so you can measure here on the upside, we are expecting $11 every single week. So let's say for 10 weeks approximately, or 22 weeks or 25 weeks, we can expect Microsoft to move up by $100. But at the same time, we need to keep a stop loss. How do I determine where to keep my stop loss? This is where your ATR will help you choose the number that you need to keep a stop loss on. For example, let me just close this. You had taken a buy at 133 and my ATR is $11. So I'm going to keep a stop loss of at least double my ATR. So that is $22 lower. That would be my ideal stop loss. And my target on the higher end would be 5 times my ATR or 20 times my ATR. 5 times would be ideal. So if my ATR is about, let's say for example, my ATR is showing me $10, $11, 5 times my ATR is $55. So basically $55 comes to somewhere around this level. Okay, so this upside move that you see of $52 is my take profit, and the downside move is my stop loss, and the take profit also was in line with the previous resistance. Now you combine all of this and keep practicing it on your charts, then it will make more sense to you. Right now, I've just gone through it very quickly because of the time limitations that we have. But I would encourage you to use all of these tools that I've just showed you to first work on a weekly chart, which will always give you a clear picture. Monthly will give you even more clear picture, but then you don't have too much of data to play around with on a monthly chart. But your weekly chart has a lot of swings. Your weekly chart has a downtrend, it has an uptrend, it has a very short downtrend here, it has a very short uptrend here. You have your RSI, you have your support resistance. Please apply all of this on your demo and try and take a couple of trade or couple of opportunities based on these indicators and practice as much. I would also encourage that please get in touch with your respective relationship managers if you want to learn more and practice more and you want to go more deep into technical analysis. I also hold advanced technical session. We will be covering a lot of advanced technical indicators at that point of time. We will be looking at, today we learned mostly on lagging indicator. There is something that can actually give you an indication which is also considered as a leading indicator. So basically it can give you a prediction of a price movement even before it happens. And we'll be looking at all of these in the advanced session. And moreover, if you still want a personalized session, a one-on-one session, please get in touch with your RM and they will be able to help you schedule one. I hope I'll just take another 2 minutes. If you all have any kind of queries, I'm sorry we are short of time. Even if your query is there, I would not be able to make justice to it. But please give us a feedback as to how you have liked our session. And if you would like to have more such sessions, we can always arrange for couple more of technical sessions in the future. Like I mentioned, after this was a very basic session. We'll always do an advanced session which you can be a part of. Please be in touch with your RMs and inform them that you would want to be a part of the advanced technical analysis. Thank you all so much for your patience and waiting the entire time and learning from me. Hope this was very helpful. Please leave your comments in your chat. Please leave your feedback as well. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you again. Have a great evening.